Hey, ROFFS analyst James here, and it is currently June 20th. I hope everyone had a good weekend. Today we will be taking a quick look at the ocean conditions that you likely would have encountered if you went offshore this past weekend from Cape Hatteras down to the Florida Keys and in the Bahamas using sea surface temperature and ocean color imagery. Overall, we wanted to congratulate everyone fishing the Big Rock tournament. During last week, we saw a nice assortment of tuna, dolphin, and wahoo, in addition to billfish such as sailfish and blue and white marlin. Conditions remained fairly stable along the western edges of the Gulf Stream, from south of Cape Hatteras down to Long Bay off of Georgetown. We continued to observe a larger Gulf Stream eddy formation offshore of Georgetown, as you can see here. This larger eddy formation developed at the beginning of last week and continues to pull some cooler blended blue water off of the Georgetown Hole area. In addition to this eddy, we saw some smaller inshore features to the southwest, such as a small clockwise rotating eddy that developed near the Edisto Banks. This smaller feature continued to move slowly to the southwest during parts of last week. However, it began to change direction, is now moving to the northeast as warmer Gulf Stream water pushed past the Charleston Ridge over the past few days. We're going to switch over to our ocean color imagery so you can really see some of these features in our ocean color imagery, where the larger Gulf Stream eddy offshore Georgetown Hole continues to pull some blended blue water filaments offshore, as you can see here. This blended blue filament of water was pulled offshore near the Savannah, Jacksonville area to the northeast during the past week. Staying in the ocean color imagery, you can really see several of these smaller eddy formations moving northwards along the Florida coast. Under these conditions, what we usually do is recommend finding the green/blue-green to blended blue or Gulf Stream blue water mass boundaries, where one eddy passes, another will follow to push favorable conditions back inshore. Usually these smaller eddies move fairly quickly, so conditions will likely improve if you give it a little bit of time. We've also observed a pattern of blended blue water moving northeast from the K-Sal Bank, as you can see here. This blended blue water occasionally moves northeast along the banks to the west of the Great Bahama Bank towards the Bimini area, and following that you get a rush of some of the darker blue Gulf Stream water into the Bimini area just to the south. We can switch back over to our sea surface temperature imagery. You can see some of these eddies moving off of the Florida Keys as it enters the Florida Straits and moves north off of Miami as well. Staying in the Bahamas, one of the biggest features that we've been monitoring has been the larger clockwise rotating eddy formation to the east of Abaco. This larger eddy has pulled some Bahamas blue water northwest into about 2,500 fathom depths to the east of Abaco, pretty favorable for offshore marlin fishing. In addition to that, we've seen a smaller counterclockwise rotating eddy formation to the north. These two eddy formations continue to pull a filament of blue-green to blended blue water offshore from the northeast corner of Abaco between the Little and Great Abaco Canyons and offshore to the northeast. Several smaller eddies also continue moving northeast from the hole-in-the-wall area between Abaco and Eleuthera, right here, moving northeast off of the eastern edges of Abaco as well. Looking further north, there had been fairly stable boundaries to the north of Abaco and Walkers for much of last week. However, we began to see some of these boundaries appearing to push a little bit offshore towards the end of the week, with some instability popping up along the 250 to 500 fathom depths offshore. Again, we want to congratulate all of our clients fishing in the Big Rock tournament last week, and we look forward to putting you on the fish for the upcoming Carolina Billfish Classic starting this Wednesday. Remember, these ocean conditions are always changing, so be sure to head to ROFFS.com or call our office at 321-723-5759 to order updated analyses for each of these areas. Our assignment office hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 7, and on Saturdays from 9 to 4. Have a good week, everyone.